thank you so much for just agreeing to do this. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you for asking. This is a really great idea. I didn't even realize you were into the pranic lifestyle, and that's something that I'm very fascinated with also. So I can't wait to hear talk more about that.
Yeah, and I'd love to learn more about your journey as well because, if I had known these things years ago, Jamie, my life would have been so different. But I'm thankful that I'm learning things now. So I'm thankful for, people like you who are giving their testimony, who are sharing with others and letting people know what's possible, because so many people still don't actually realize or even, believe what is actually possible for them. So just thank you for always putting out these positive energies. You know?
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I don't know, I just feel the need to inspire people through, yeah, like just positivity. There's so much negative things in the world and hatred, and I feel like we just need to spread more love and obviously I'm not a toxic positive person, like the toxic positivity or spiritual bypass or anything in that sense. But I do feel like when we do have light, because there are times when we are, connected to these low moments, but when we do feel high and we're radiating and we're vibrating on such a high level, like we have to, it's our responsibility to share that with the world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, because what would you say is the difference? Like when it comes to shining your light or when it comes to what you called spiritual bypassing?
Or toxic positivity.
Yeah, what is the
Yeah.
difference?
Okay, so for me, in my experience, I would say that toxic positivity is ignoring these issues, or like, let's say you have a feeling that comes up and you don't want to feel it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna you know change my thoughts, and I'm gonna think positive thoughts, and do things. I'm gonna do something that makes me feel better. Like you're really just numbing or covering over something that's trying to process or come through for you to process. And I feel like they say that a lot of spiritual uh, practices or teachings say that, when you go through the pain, like you come out on the other side reborn. And it's just, it helps you to grow. So like when we're able to really sit with our feelings and process them and like go like feel what we're feeling, because it is part of our experience too, not just the good and the happy and the love, but like the pain and the heartbreak and you know the loss or grief, or those are real things. And when we experience that, it really helps us to appreciate the positive aspects of life. That we do live in a world of polarity, and they are equally as important. One helps us to understand the other. So I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think like when you really do the inner work and you heal, it's like that joy that comes out, that it's like you have shed these layers that are weighing you down from really just being what you truly are. You
Okay. So it's
know?
like doing the shadow work, like not avoiding your shadows, not avoiding the darkness,
No,
but
not at all.
acknowledging everything, like letting it all be felt, letting it all be seen, and all those parts of you that want to be heard, that want to be seen in that way. Is that kind of what they say when they say like no pressure, no diamond?
I've never heard that saying before, honestly.
Like like if there's no pressure, then you can't. Like the pressure makes the diamond. It makes you shine. It makes it shine even brighter because it has gone through a process of a lot of, you know.
Yeah, and some of the people who've gone through the hardest times or the deepest pain, they have the biggest hearts. They know how to love because they've felt what it feels like they appreciate life more. Or like, I mean, if you've just been handed everything and you've maybe never struggled in your life, or you've never lost anyone, like you haven't really grown. Yeah, it's like that pressure of becoming a diamond. I once heard this quote that said, someone told me that saints are sinners that never gave up,
Ooh,
which is so true, right? Because it's like really the process of like, like we're like these sinners and we're making these mistakes and, we're self-sabotaging and we're self-hatred and we hurt the people we love and we're going through life as victims and, it's all the hero's journey. It's all part of it. And then, it's just this process of unraveling and discovering who we are underneath everything.
Absolutely. That's a great illustration. Great point. I haven't heard that either. Like saints are sinners that never gave up. Like they just kept on going. They just kept on growing. So when it comes to like all the pain that you've experienced, all the anguish, the agony, the turmoil, the just the trials, you're saying that you're grateful for it all.
Yeah,
Like
it really
without.
that's what really molds you into who you're supposed to become. It's getting you ready. It's preparing you to be a warrior in this world. That's what I feel.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow.
Like
So
to really be able to serve others, like you have to be so strong inside. And when you come out of the ashes of like the deepest, darkest pain that you've ever experienced in your life, like nothing can touch you, nothing can hurt you. You're strong, you're solid, you're grounded, you have this strength about you that you never had before, and it's a beautiful spiritual strength.
mhm. So you're like the phoenix. You're like
Yeah.
the phoenix that
Well, we all are. We're all going through it.
rose
Yeah.
ashes. That is a beautiful, like, just picturing that. You gave me a vision of like rising from the ashes. To be reborn, to be renewed, to be restored, and to have new life. Like, I mean, I know that you've said that you enjoy actually seeing and sharing like the before and after transformations that you've gone through, because when you reflect back, when you connect back with the Jamie of years ago, is it like you're looking at a different person, or do you still, like, do you see yourself within her, or do you feel like it's a completely different being?
It's so interesting because I do feel like I'm a completely different person, but at the same time, I can still feel every aspect of myself from every moment of my life, and I can even feel aspects of myself that I haven't even lived yet. So I can connect to future versions of myself, and I step into that, and there's some days where I'm very connected to it, and I embody that version of myself, that I'm growing into. I get glimpses of it, and the same thing because the mind is a time traveler. Our mind likes to travel through time. So there are moments where I can really go back to even my childhood. And in that moment, I am that girl. I'm that person. The only thing that's different, that looks different, is who, this body on the outside. But spiritually, it's like we are, what is it, omnipresent? Like, we are everywhere at one time. Like we're all over.
Mm. Yeah,
We're
everywhere, all at.
we're in the past, we're in the future, we're in multiple timelines, we're in different dimensions, we're in different levels of consciousness. Like our soul is, the only thing that really limits us is our mind in this physical form.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the only limitation is our imagination. Yeah, I do agree. So it's like being that limitless being, or being the multi-dimensional being. Has it ever felt like, has it ever felt overwhelming to know that you are everything? Has that ever felt like a burden, or like, wow, like I'm everywhere all at once. I'm everything all at once. There's no end to who I am.
I think I think when you reach that point, you're at a level where it's not you've gotten out of fear. Because if you can feel that, then you've surpassed fear. So at that point, you feel open and expanded. And I mean, if you've ever done any kind of plant medicines, have you ever done plant medicines?
So I haven't done them in the reverence, that some people describe them, where, they're doing it in a ceremonial way. But I have done uh, certain medicines that took me in different realities, that kind of reframed or restructured, my mind in that way. But which plant medicine are you referring to?
Well, let's see. I would say LSD, psilocybin, um, DMT, and there's another one that I've done too that was very, very beautiful.
Like
What was that one?
ayahuasca?
No, well, no, I've done something similar to ayahuasca, but it's the cactus, the male cactus.
Oh wow. Wow,
It's not
you've
peyote.
gone
It's
deep.
called
Whoa, Jamie, you've gone deep.
but it's just like, once you just push past that level, that box, like we're in this box of this comfort zone, and once we push out of that, oh my God, it's just like you do feel connected to everything. And no, in that moment it feels really beautiful. But if you're looking at it from inside this box, like that can be scary. And that's why we put our walls up.
Hmm. So, so between those that you just listed off, between psilocybin, LSD, and DMT, which of the three do you feel was the most challenging, like mentally? And which of the three do you feel was most expansive, like spiritually?
I think psilocybin to me was the most challenging. And I, I think I think DMT was also very challenging, but once I broke through on DMT, it was the most amazing experience. I felt like an angel. I felt just pure light. It was so beautiful. And when you have an experience like that, it stays with you. And I've had multiple experiences. I did these plant medicines for years, and did a lot of deep inner work. And not just that, but I've done other spiritual practice. Um, a lot of stuff in nature and a lot of shadow work, breath work, yoga, just letting go. There's this book that I read by Michael Singer called The Untethered Soul.
Mm.
And I mean, that to me, that's the highest spiritual practice, that anyone can have, is just the ability to just surrender and to accept and to let go. Because I think before I did these plant medicines, there's just always this part of you that is trying to control the world so that you don't feel disturbance inside. And once I had these experiences, it's like you have no choice but to surrender. Like you're not in control. And now it's like I'm able to really live my life. And when I feel something come up, I don't attach to it. I mean, obviously there are times we're only human, and sometimes there are times when, a feeling or an emotion comes up or a thought. But if you could just feel it and not attach to it and get involved in it, it really can open your heart. Like there's someone told me this once before, and this is so true, but you must continue breaking the heart until it opens.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Yet you must. They said you must continue.
You must continue to break the heart until it just cracks open. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
It's so crazy because, we when we're children, we love so deeply, right? Like children are so close to God, they're so connected to spirit. And, as we grow older, we live more from our ego, and we suppress who we really are. We suppress our soul, and we just have these layers and layers over our heart, and we just have to keep chipping away and like peeling back the layers and letting go. And it's hard though, because we become so accustomed to protecting ourselves from being hurt
Mm.
that we can't truly feel anymore. So most people are going through their life not feeling anything. They can't feel music. They can't feel beauty. They can't feel love. They can't feel a sunset. They just can't feel the interconnectedness around people. And I think a lot of the reason that's why, there's so much violence in the world, or, people harm children or harm animals is because they don't feel anything, or they're doing something to be able to feel something. They're just not doing, the work to really like work through like their pain. You have to face it.
Very, very true. I definitely recall many instances where I felt numb. I didn't have a level of sensitivity to understand, the damage that I was even doing to others, let alone to all these beings that just want to live, that just want life the way that we want life, that have feelings the way that we have feelings and emotions. And, you know, it's interesting. I love how you talked about peeling back the layers and releasing things, kind of like, you peeling back the layers of an onion, and the more you keep peeling, the tears, they come down, they start crying. So just having that release, and as well the way that you shared Michael Singer, that's a book I hadn't read in so many years. The Untethered Soul, I think that was the book that showed me that I am not my thoughts. Like, I am not my, I am, the awareness that's able to perceive what's going on behind all of this. And for you to have that surrender when you said with DMT in particular, that it was so challenging, but you said when you broke through, you felt like an angel, you felt angelic. So what was that breakthrough like for anybody who's never done DMT or had these experiences? What was it like to, like, can you describe the breakthrough?
The breakthrough, I think, was ego death. Honestly, that's why it was so scary. I literally felt like I was dying. I just felt so much fear and so trapped, and I just wanted to get out of it. But that, like, subconsciously, that's how we all feel all the time. Like we're always living, most people are living in fear. And if you could just break through that fear, you will be able to live your life like so with so much freedom.
Mm,
And yeah, it was just like it was like this. It was like I was feeling the breakthrough was letting go. That was the breakthrough. As soon as I let go and I said, there's nothing I can do right now, I just have to just fucking deal with it.
mm,
And it was
mm.
and I just surrendered. I stopped fighting. I stopped trying to control. That's the hardest thing for people to do sometimes.
Yeah,
To
because
let,
what do you
yeah.
feel like was before that experience that you had been trying to control or felt you needed control over, that you finally relinquished and let go?
Fear.
Okay.
I think it was fear. Yeah, because it's the thing that we fear itself.
Mm,
We're afraid to feel fear. It's the feeling itself that we're afraid of. Um,
wow. So just
yeah,
having, yeah, you're saying it makes us just to have the fear itself.
yeah. I think you really just have to break through fear.
Mm,
I think fear just holds us back. We're afraid. We're afraid to get hurt. We're afraid to be ourselves. We're afraid to be authentic. We're afraid to love because we're afraid to get hurt.
right.
It's so much fear. Like we just walk around with so much fear. Most people, right? Majority of the world. We're afraid of losing someone in a relationship. We're afraid of losing our job. We're afraid we can't pay our rent. We're afraid of looking at who we really are. We're afraid of facing our shadow self. We're afraid of facing the darkest parts of ourselves. We're afraid of what we'll find if we go deep.
I resonate. I resonate. Wow. Wow. Thank you for that message. That was that that hits home.
Man. Yeah, and then but it was scary as crazy. It was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my life. It's not the most painful thing I went through, but it's the scariest thing I went through. And I'm so glad that I did it. I don't think I would ever do it again, but I'm so grateful that I had that experience because of that, like I was really, really reborn into something new. And consciously and spiritually, my heart I feel so much love and so much compassion now. Even when I listen to music, I feel it. I feel it so deeply, like I become one with the music. And oh my God, it's just everything is just so beautiful. The colors of life are so beautiful. You know, just feeling the breeze of of the wind on my skin, feeling the sun, like everything just becomes alive, alive when you just let go of fear. It just feels so amazing.
Wow. And being a singer, it sounds like for you to feel music in such a different way, it transformed your, you know, your perception, your ears, and your voice as well, it sounds, you know, like if you felt the music in such a palpable way now, if you experienced it on such a different level now, then it's like you can truly embody something that maybe, you know, felt shallow before, now you're going even deeper.
That's interesting that you say that. I do feel that. I do now when I sing, I really feel like something is coming through my voice.
Okay. Like you're channeling.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah, because it's almost like I step away and it's like time just stops in that moment. And it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah.
It's like when you can really, when you can do what you love, like express your artistic talents with an open heart. Oh my gosh, that is like, that's where God comes in. That's genius right there. You know, like paint a painting, sculpt something, you know, sing, write music. Like, oh my gosh, that's like, and you can feel it. You can feel it in the music. Like when somebody is really connected and their hearts are open, like it channels through when I'm listening to their song. And I'm sure it's the same way if I'm singing. You know, when I sing, my husband, he gets goosebumps.
Mm.
You know, it's really the energy behind what we're doing, the expressing. That's why you have to get into that state. Like you have to like to go through life not coming from that state of consciousness. It's like you're just on autopilot. You're not really experiencing the fullness of life.
Right. Right. And if no one's experienced that, and if no one has allowed themselves to surrender to that level, you know, when you're talking about ego death and just the gratitude that you now have for life and living and going through one of the worst fears. I mean, for many people, the fear of not existing, the fear of not being here, the fear of just not being, you know, just not being, that's a huge fear for many people that holds people back from doing many things, you know, just the fear of not, you know, being no longer. So would you say that the idea of death is now different for you going through that experience?
Well, now I realize that there is no death. So what scares me is the fact that I can't not exist.
Whoa. Whoa.
Like you can't not exist. Like even if you wanted to, like even if you took your life, you're gonna exist in some other form. Like you can't not be here. We are eternal.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. So you're
So
even your,
that's a little overwhelming.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like even you're offended, you know?
What?
Yeah. Oh man.
What did
Thank
you say? I didn't hear that last part.
Yeah, you were saying that's overwhelming. Like even your fear has transcended. Now, I mean, you're not afraid that, you know, you won't be here, but you're afraid you're always going to be here. You're never going to not be here.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just going to look like something, but it doesn't mean that this is not important or that this isn't real, because even though technically this is a form of dreaming in a sense, we're meant to experience it. So if someone dies and we say, "Oh, okay, well they've passed on, and you know I'm spiritual, and you know it's not real, and you know they're in a better place, and I know that they're you know like you know we're I don't you know what I'm saying? Like if you pull yourself out of the humanness too much, like you're missing the point. Like we are supposed to feel loss.
Mm.
We're supposed to feel like we're supposed to feel these things because this is what develops compassion in your heart. If you block yourself off from feeling the pain, because you think you're this high vibe, positive, spiritual person, and your mom just dies, and you're like, well, she's in a better place, and I'm not gonna, feel sorry, or I'm not gonna feel sad or anything. Like really feel that. Like really feel the fact that even though maybe she's existing somewhere else, you will never see her again in this life, in this form, in this body, as this consciousness, as this personality, right? So it's just like we still have to, even though we say like you'll never fully die, um, we still have to really experience the loss of death.
Okay. Okay. So we can't have one
I think
without.
so. Yeah. I had a dream one time. Oh God, this dream was so beautiful because here we are in this world saying, oh, negative is bad, darkness is bad, death is bad, right? But what if it's just as beautiful as the light? And I'm not saying evil in the world. I'm just saying the opposite, the polarity, it's just this beautiful play of energy, like this dance of energy. And in my dream, I was able to see death and like everything that starts to decay and to die in this world, but I saw it in such it was so beautiful to me. Like it didn't I saw that it was like there was this tree and it was dying, but it wasn't ugly or bad or rotten. It was in a different form. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's all beautiful. Like it's all just, yeah, it's all meant to be here. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a feeling like you almost can't describe it, You almost can't
No.
words. It's like,
It it was an experience I had on the inner plane. It was a lucid dream that I had. And if we can, the more we grow and realize how important our dreams are, we realize that our dreams are not dreams. They are experiences that we're actually having on different planes of existence. They are memories, and they are there to show us, to guide us, to teach us lessons the same way that we are meant to in this reality, this physical world.
whoa, whoa. Do you ever write your dreams down, like dream journaling?
Sometimes, sometimes, yeah, if I remember them 100%, I do.
And and when you lucid dream and you remember it and you write it down, like have if you reread it, does it ever reveal something that pertains to this reality, or is it just completely different?
Yes, and when you are able to connect your experiences on the inner plane and the outer plane, you realize that they are connected. And if you're only gaining experience from this reality, you're only getting half the piece of the puzzle. You have to incorporate and integrate the experiences that you get on the inner plane into this life.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give someone? You have certain people will say, "Oh, I don't dream. I never dream when I go to sleep. I just wake up. Like, I don't know how to be in this realm or to communicate on that inner plane." What advice would you give for something like that?
One would be to clean up your diet, clean up your body, get the stuff out that is causing you to, be so asleep. You can, meditation is really great. Just raising your consciousness. Like I said, I did plant medicines and spending a lot of time out in nature, just quiet moments to yourself, like going within and just being as present as possible in this life. And then there are spiritual exercises that you can do to help, remember your dreams, because there is a veil of forgetness where when you wake up, you're so you forget it. But if you're conscious enough, like you can remember your dreams, and you can have more lucid dreams, soul travel. I don't like to use the word astral projection because astral projecting is really just a recreation for fun kind of thing, right? But deep spiritual soul travel is really traveling to many, many different heavenly planes and having beautiful experiences and then taking that back into this world and being able to share that, in your life and with other people and just to gain insight of who you are and how to heal and like what your purpose is in this world. Yeah, so there are spiritual exercises that you can do to help remember your dreams and to induce more lucid dreams, to have more spiritual dreams, to remember these coded messages that come through.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. Great
Yeah.
advice. It's so soul traveling. I like how you use soul travel instead of, because we do hear a lot astral projection, but when you say soul traveling, it sounds much deeper. It sounds like more connected to that cellular level. Like you're having a soulful experience, and your soul is actually traveling. So you're saying
Well,
we're
you
meditating.
don't actually go anywhere.
Okay, okay.
You
So
don't
you're
go anywhere. It's called soul travel, but it's 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 hard to explain. You're not leaving anywhere because you are everywhere. It's like you're just moving into different, you know, levels of consciousness or different dimensions. So if there's the astral plane, let's say we have the physical plane, and then we have the astral plane, and then I think after that comes the causal plane and the mental plane and the etheric plane and the soul plane, and then it goes up and up. So the astral world or astral plane is the one right, it each 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 dimension is a projection of the world before it, if that makes sense. So they all kind of look the same, they're just lighter vibrationally, energetically, they have more light, they're less dense. So this is a very dense plane that we live in. And that's why in that astral plane, when you're astral projecting, you can fly and you can walk through walls. You can make things appear just by thinking about it.
oh,
You can manifest something like right, instantly just by picturing it, like in a lucid dream. So most of our dreams happen on the astral plane, but you're really limiting yourself because there's so much more and so much more beauty in those inner planes that you can experience. And the lower astral plane is where you have like these dark entities and stuff. So you definitely want to raise your consciousness and raise your vibration and do these spiritual exercises so that you can reach these higher levels of heaven, and not just have these lower experiences in the astral world.
mm, mm, mm. So there's even like a spectrum of existence within the existence. Like within the dream, you're saying there's a lower and a higher astral, like in the astral realm, there's a lower astral plane, like lower and higher.
Yes,
This is fascinating. Hmm.
yeah. So I think your nightmares, like bad dreams, those occur on the lower astral plane,
Okay.
and 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 you're actually there in your astral body. So you're thinking, oh, I'm just having a dream and it's just my mind. But no, like you leave your body. And I know because I've done this. I've literally left my body. Like I've flown out of my body. I've done astral projecting. I've had lucid dreams and I've flown. I've been to distant worlds, like all in these inner planes. And, here we are feeling so limited, but it's like we have the ability to have these amazing experiences. Like you could practice this and you could fly, like and feel so free. And then you don't feel so closed in or caged in this world.
Mm-hmm. So like these abilities, like going through walls, going through barriers, crossing to different worlds, different places, different realms. You've been able to do that since childhood, or was there a point in time where?
Yeah. I started having flying dreams when I was a little girl, and then I think in my 20s is when I started having my first lucid dream, and I started started astral projecting, and and then yeah, and then one time I was doing a spiritual exercise and I was not asleep. I just laid down to do the spiritual exercise and I was focusing on my third eye and I was visualizing a place, and I like this just teleported there.
Instant.
And in instant. I was not even asleep. And it was the only time I've ever done that. But when you have an experience like that, you realize the true nature of like what you are, and it just takes the guessing out. And like that those kinds of experiences, like if people are unsure of, like if they have questions about life and what we are and what this world is, like just start having those kinds of experiences. You don't even need to do drugs to do them. You don't need to do ayahuasca to do it. You just have to put the time and the focus and the discipline into doing spiritual exercises to help you, train your brain to do that.
Yeah.
And meditation, of course.
And
Yeah.
you were completely sober. There was nothing.
Completely sober.
You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
went there.
Actually, this was before I even had those experiences with plant medicines. This was years before I even tried plant medicines.
Wow. Wow. So I'm
Yeah.
sure I,
Actually, I think it was before I even went raw.
ooh,
Yeah. So, you know, like, but if you clean up your diet, clean up your body, I think you are more likely to have these experiences because you just become lighter, and you become more in tune to these subtle energies, like when you're eating a clean, raw, high enzyme, high vibrational diet, you really start to have more clear dreams. You start to remember your dreams better. You start to have more synchronicity, more spiritual experiences. I feel like I started to manifest things more into my life when I cleaned up my body.
mm. So
Yeah. What about
clean
you?
that you're saying, like being living on a high vibrational diet has not only lessened the confusion in this reality, but it's brought even more clarity in the next reality, like in the next like in the next plane.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Well, because I feel like I've become more conscious.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think when you expand your consciousness in this waking reality, and then you go into the dream world, you become very conscious. Your lucid dreams are very lucid. When you're lucid in a dream and you realize you're dreaming, you like you're awake. There's nothing preventing you from being so engrossed in that present moment right then. Like I've had lucid dreams where it was to the point where I was so what's the word? Just blown away that I was this awake in a dream and so aware. I was literally touching things to see. I'm like, wow, I know I'm
Mm.
dreaming. And I was like literally touching the wall. Like it's just, I was like, wow, it looks so real. Just as real as this.
Yeah.
Everything was just as real. So if we could wake up in this reality, if we could become lucid now in this world, in this life, that's the point. That would be the goal, is how lucid can you be living your life? That then you're really living your life to the fullest, as when you're lucid and you're awake and you're really present in everything that you're doing.
Mm. Lucid living. Lucid living.
Oh, that's a good one. Lucid living. Oh my goodness. Okay, tell me about you now. Tell me, okay, how did you, because I love the pranic lifestyle. I actually, when I was on, like I said, I did something similar to ayahuasca, and I just had this insight that I was a breatharian. I was like, oh my gosh, like we don't need anything, it just came over me like I don't need, like we're not supposed to eat food, it just, and I love fasting. I love like that feeling of just no hunger, of not needing anything. It just feels so free. So what inspired you on your pranic journey? How long have you been doing it? And what where are you? What level of your journey are you at right now?
Yes, but it's a journey that's constantly growing. It's constantly flowing. It's definitely a learning. It's definitely a journey. You know, for me, there's no destination. There's no arrival point. There's no peak of the mountain where I feel like I'll be there and I'm looking to just, oh, like finally I've arrived. You know, it's just a continuum. You know, it's a continuum. So I came into the awareness of, you know, this even being an option. I didn't even know it was an option.
I know.
Like,
I was,
yeah,
what's that word where you have cognitive
yeah,
dissonance?
yeah.
When I found out about the breatharian pranic lifestyle, I never had any cognitive dissonance. The second I heard about it, I was like, wow, you can do that? Like there was nothing preventing me from disbelief. It was like I like deep down my soul knew that this is real. It's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was definitely disconnected. You know, there were parts of me that were disjointed when it came to the idea. It's like my mind wanted to perceive it, but
Hmm.
took a level of it took a level of faith. It took a lot of trust. It took a lot of unlearning. You know, it actually
Yeah.
deprogramming in order for me to reprogram. I had to uninstall in order to reinstall new programs. You know, I had to put a lot of the old files into the recycle bin and I had to empty the trash. You know, I had to empty the content. I had to really reboot, you know?
Well, it's just funny because I'm talking from a feminine point of view, and I'm like talking about like like peeling the layers, and you're like, and I had to delete the files. Like it's such a like a feminine, masculine perspective of it's just I love that. That's so funny. I love hearing that. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, you know? So it was a process. It was a process.
Yeah.
But I had to realize that where I was, you know, the state that I was in, the state of unrest, the state of restlessness, the state of, you know, not feeling healthy, not feeling cognizant, not feeling aware, feeling confusion, feeling brain fog, feeling just, I didn't know where I was going. And I didn't have a lot of energy. I felt very lethargic, very just sleepy all the time. And I was doing things that were like fake energy. I was drinking energy drinks and so many things to try and get this thing called energy. Like, how do I get more of this thing? And, you know, it was very backwards. But before I felt all this, you know, abundance, I had to let go of so much. So that's why I say I had to realize that it was a process to get there. So wherever else I was going, it was going to just be a whole nother process. You know, like this is a whole nother process. So it came from pain. You know, I was in a long time, I was in a relationship. And I love what you said before, Jamie, about fear, because there was a lot of fear. You know, when I was in that relationship, we had been together for so long that we had become entangled. Like, you know, those entanglements, you know?
The
So
the strings, yeah, the
the
chords.
strings were so attached that,
Yeah.
you know, in order to cut those strings, you feel like you're cutting a piece of yourself, you know? Like you're cutting a piece of your identity, you're cutting a piece of your life, you know? Like it felt like you'd become attached, like this is your arm. Now you feel like you have to cut your arm off to save the rest of your body. You got to amputate this, you know?
It's like you
That's what
don't
it
know who you are without them.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I had to do. And, you know, when we separated, I drove to California from Texas. It was a long drive. And that was everything began for me there. And it wasn't all an upwards journey. You know, the graph wasn't just trending up and to the right. It was a lot of dips, a lot of downs before before I went up. The ball had to hit the ground before it bounced, you know? And I met people that I never even knew had so much love for strangers. You know, these monks and nuns from Myanmar, people from Burma that welcomed me into their meditation center. You talked about meditation earlier. So that's when I came into the awareness that, you know, all of this stuff, I can actually sit. I can sit down and I can allow. You know, I don't have to constantly be you know, with the masculine. We want to make things happen. We want to take action. We want to constantly be moving. And we think that if we're not moving, that we're never improving. But when I actually sat, when I was quiet, when I was still, it was in my stillness I let go of a lot of illness, you know, a lot of mental illness with that stillness. They showed me how to do that. And then they had a conversation with me, and somebody was like, hey, you know, I see you've been, you know, you've been doing different things. Have you heard about, you know, liquidarians? Have you heard about breatharians? I didn't know I had never heard of these things. You know, they're like, what? They're like, yeah, our chief monk at the time, he had been living a liquid lifestyle for the past 2 years. That was in 2019. So he had had no solid food for 2 years. I was like, what do you mean? What? What do you mean? You know, like, I thought you're supposed to, like, that's it. You know, aren't you supposed to die? Like, they said, no, this is how he lives. So that was when I started my research. And just like Neo in the Matrix, you know, I went down the rabbit hole. You know, I took the red pill. I said, let's see how far it goes, you know, and I'm still finding.
And how long ago was this?
That was in 2019.
Wow,
So
19, 20, 22.
5 years
Oh,
ago.
5 years. Wow. Yeah, I think I first found out about the pranic lifestyle when I met my husband a little over 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just been a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Journey.
I'm
So
excited.
tell me okay, what exactly, because I know there's different levels of breatharianism. Like the level one is like you know about it, and you know you're something, and like level two, you're fasting and you're trying to like wean off of, you know, eliminate things from your life. And I think level three is you've gone without food, or you just drink water. And I think level four is no food or water. So what have you experienced? What is your experience with fasting? What is your current lifestyle like?
Hmm. Yeah, so great, you know, thank you for that question. Great question, Jamie. I don't really get into the levels, you know, I don't really get into the level aspect of it, but I do get into the lifestyle. For me, it's become a lifestyle, so it's become a style of living, you know? Before it used to feel like fasting, before it used to feel like, you know, I was maybe depriving myself of something that I felt I was going to come back to at a time in order to detox, in order to heal my body. And I went through steps, I went through phases of fasting when it came to that. After a certain point, it went from fasting to something longer lasting, something that we call pranic living. You know, when you have the conscious awareness, you have the conviction, you have the inner knowing, just like you had when you had those experiences with your soul traveling, with DMT, with those experiences of projecting your body into different places without any substance. You know, you're in different spaces, you're in different places. Having that awareness, it shapes you forever. Like once something is known, it cannot be unknown. You know, like you forever understand. Like, wow, was I living a lie my whole life? You know, like that's what I felt like. So when I was in downtown Los Angeles, that's when I was really exploring this. When I was going days and days without food and water, that was the first time I started going. And, you know, it went from feeling like dry fasting to just existing on nothing but feeling everything. I mean, the level of sensitivity, first of all, I mean, my olfactory senses opened up. I could smell everything. I felt like an animal. I was smelling things I'd never smelled in my life. And it was a euphoric experience. It was like, what have I been doing all my life? How have I been this blocked that I can't have this pleasure? I felt like I was eating through my nose. I was walking up and down Grand Central, you know, the Grand Central Market in downtown Los Angeles. I was walking up and down those aisles, smelling everything. And then I would just leave without eating. And I would feel so full. I would feel so complete, you know, and I never did
You
that.
just you just appreciate the smell of it without the hunger.
Yeah. You know, I was so satisfied. Like every cell in my body was satiated. Everything in my being was satisfied. It was a feeling of fullness without having to put something in my body, without having to put something down my throat, without having to chew, without having to do. I was just being. So that really blew my mind. It was mind blowing just to find and discover that I could exist without needing. There was one thing of craving, but then another thing of knowing that you don't need it to survive. I had never had that awareness. I'd always been in the scarcity mindset of, okay, I better get this job in order to have the money. So in order to buy the food, to have the energy to keep working, so I can have the money to buy the food, to have the energy to keep working, to have the money to buy, I was in that cycle for many, many years. Now,
Wow.
when you're no longer in that cycle, like, what do you do now? What do you, what
You
do I do now with all?
create. You
Yeah,
create. That's what you do. You serve and create. You give back. Oh my gosh.
exactly. So that's
Wow.
me doing is part of that service. Now, it's like it's part of that purpose. I'm no longer nervous about being in service. Now I have an abundance of energy to create, to have that form of vibration and, new information. So thank you.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That is such a beautiful story. I absolutely love that. Um, do you follow? Okay, let's talk about different breatharians and see who you follow, who I follow. Okay. Have you heard of Jericho Sunfire?
I've heard of him, but I haven't really seen many talks. Yeah.
He's not he's left. He's not in the world anymore. He's like in hiding somewhere. But he wrote a book that was so fascinating. After I read that, and there was another book that I read called Inedia. I think Inedia means like to not need food or something like that, or a person who doesn't eat. I can't remember what the name of that book was, but that book was both these two books were so powerful and made such an impact on me. And then I read Ray Mayor wrote a book called A Year Without Food, but he went a year and he wasn't. I mean, it wasn't his book wasn't as impactful as the other books, and I think he eats food now. I don't think he's a breatharian anymore. But he did like a year. But I don't think it doesn't matter. It's the same thing with raw foods. It doesn't matter how long you're doing it or what you're doing or how many days you go without food. It's really nobody's business, right?
You know, I love that you say that because there was a time where I felt like, oh, now like, okay, I have to do this or I have to not do this in order to become, this being or become this breatharian or become this, now I have this feeling within me and it's just, call it my theory. I feel like we're all already breatharians.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
really are,
yeah.
you know? It's just
And it's
having
like
that,
it's just like pushing past that fear. Like you said, you
yeah,
had to, yeah.
yeah. So just
The
understand,
trusting what we already are, what our body can do, and what we were designed to do, how we were created. We were created perfect and whole.
yes, yes, you said it. You said it, you know? It's amazing like how in this day and age, it's become almost like a conspiracy theory just to believe that the body is able to do what it was always designed to do, you know? Just to believe that. Like you're a conspiracy theorist, like
Mm.
I,
And that goes for anything. That goes for just healing the body naturally.
right. So,
Because your body can heal naturally.
yeah, yeah. I agree. So just to know the regeneration, like to know your capabilities are endless. People have healed themselves. The body is the healer. It's so intelligent. I had to get out the way. I had to move out the way of my body and say, you know what, you take over. You know what you're doing. Let me not let my mind get in the way of a natural process. You know?
The thing is that we are not the body. The body runs itself.
Yeah.
And we're just in here. We're just it runs itself. We're not doing it. We don't make our heart
Right.
beat. We're not controlling our lungs to breathe. The body is automatically doing this. It's a machine. It's doing it by itself.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was that was the revelation for me. I actually have so much gratitude for the education that I never had, you know? If I had had more nutritional knowledge, if I had known
Mm,
more about, the vitamins and the B12s and omega-3s and all these things like that we think that we need to exist if I had known all of that up here, I wouldn't have ever been able to like really just step out the way and trust my body to do what it already knows how to do. You know,
hmm.
it has,
But there is a thing because like I do think that even though we don't need anything, that there are things in this world that even if we're breatharian or not eating or we're fasting, that we can take either like certain herbs or like marine phytoplankton, these things just to level us up to like superhuman ability.
yeah, nature always provides, you know,
Yeah,
nature always
yeah,
provides. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you for these questions, Jamie. Thank you.
Oh man, this is exciting. What about I saw pictures of you with Ellie Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ellie Tom's one of my mentors, and Raki Chari as well. She's on YouTube, the Breatharian Yogini. So both her and Ellie Tom would be my mentors on this journey. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. I love that. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I saw a video of him and I was so inspired. Um, it just the way his story, the way he did it, I forgot where he grew up or where he was living, but I think he had a son and they had a freezer in the garage because they had all this frozen meat and processed microwave dinners and like, standard American diet. And I forgot how it happened. I think he just slowly started weaning off of it. But I have heard of some people, there have been stories of some people not, gradually weaning their way into this lifestyle, but just getting this download like I don't want to eat food anymore. And that it does they can't eat, like they're just like, this is so weird, I don't know why are we doing this, like they almost like they wake up to the fact that like they are breatharian and eating is so unnatural to them, and they just do it like instantly. They just like in a second they're like, I'm not going to eat anymore, and they just stop like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it.
So crazy.
Yeah. And he grew up in Ohio, Akron, Ohio.
Ohio, yeah. And what I loved about his story too is that he gradually did it. This is the inspiring thing because I think most people when they're moving to a pranic lifestyle, they're gonna do it gradually. They're not just gonna stop eating food altogether. 'Cause you have to like really practice, get the body accustomed to fasting and going without food and expanding your consciousness to realize that you don't need food to for your body to survive. And then he would say that he would go 2 weeks without food or water. But then when he would see his son, he would eat with his son because he still wanted that social
Right.
aspect with him.
Right. That you
Mhm.
don't moments back, that's family time, and to have those moments with his son while he was growing up, that was
Yeah,
important. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I love that. Wow. And then what about Qigong? What do you study with Iso? Is he one of your
No,
mentors?
no, so I know Iso, but I haven't studied with him. Eli Tom was the one who taught me Qigong. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Wow. And you've gone with, because you were obviously with him. Did you go on a couple of his retreats?
I've been on many retreats. Yeah.
Wow.
So there was a 9-day retreat towards the end of last year. I think it was around October. We were in Los Angeles, so we were right there on Beverly Hills. So we stayed there for 9 days. We had a retreat with Ellie Tom, me, a lady named Jenny, and we stayed at her place, at her house, and we just, everybody came. We had the meetups, we had talks. I know you orchestrate a meetup as well. You have a raw vegan meetup, so we
Worldwide. Worldwide.
yeah. So it's amazing. Just to bring people together, the community. That's amazing, So I love that you're doing, and he's been doing that everywhere he goes. But I've
That's
been
so cool.
Sedona, Arizona. I've been to his retreats in Los Angeles and different
And
places.
he's barefoot now too. I don't think he wears shoes anymore at all.
Yeah, when he went to India the last time, he was going barefoot quite some time, and then he just kept going. Yeah, he just kept going.
Yeah.
So yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring.
Now he's in Africa. He's walking the continent. He's walking the whole.
He's so funny. He cracks me up. I would love to meet him one day. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you do qigong twice a day, three times a day?
And whenever I just feel it, whenever I feel that it's needed for me, I just do it. Now I can kind of check in with myself. I'm more in tune with my cycles of my body, how I'm feeling. I do it in the morning regularly for others. So I'm already doing it with people, but I like to share the practice with others. So we do a live every day. It's at 8 a.m. PST, so 8 a.m. your time. We go live every day and we do a practice of Qigong right here on Instagram. And it's for anybody who wants to show up and indulge in the practice. So that's one thing that we do. And then also meditating, walking, exercising, reading, and a lot of things when it comes to cultivation, just working with energy. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful that you're doing that. You have like an inner community, you said?
So,
Membership
so,
community?
so I do have that one as well. That's separate. The one that I do every day on live is for free. It's just for anybody who wants to join every day.
Is it on
Yeah,
Instagram?
it's right here on Instagram.
Oh my
And
gosh, I want to do it.
come tomorrow. We're doing
I
it
would love to. Every single day at 8 a.m. What time zone?
your time zone, 8 a.m. your time.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Texas.
Ugh, I thought you were going to say LA. I was going to say, that's it, we're meeting up. Oh man, okay,
I mean, I
okay.
have family. I have family back in LA. I was just there last November, and then I came back. But
I
yeah,
think you should come to our next Raw Foods meetup.
awesome, awesome. When's Oh wait, you're having one for your birthday, right? March.
Well, that's going to be at a restaurant, but then the next beach meetup, which I think you'll really like, is in June.
Hey, okay,
Yeah, the
awesome.
next big beach meetup. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I might do one in May because Jillian Berry is supposed to be coming to LA. I'm going to plan one, but I'm sorry, I might do a beach meetup sooner than that, but the next worldwide meetup is going to be in June.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah,
awesome,
I initiated a worldwide raw food meetup.
amazing, amazing,
Yeah, we had cities all over the world hosting raw food meetups on March 9th.
beautiful.
It was really, really powerful and just so beautiful to see so many people coming together. And these meetups are just so full of love and compassion and high energy. And it just, God, it's just everybody just brings their best self. And there's so many hugs and laughs, and we're just having a great time. And, I tell people to keep judgment out. This is a safe place. We have some people who are just transitioning or just curious about the raw food lifestyle. We have people who are living on juice. We've got people who are wanting to transition to breatharian. We have, it's such a welcoming, non-exclusive, like we're all welcome at whatever level that you're at.
Hmm.
So,
And
mhm.
what would you say you're most proud of, when it comes to these worldwide meetups, when it comes to these meetups in general, like, what are you most proud of yourself for? Because I can imagine it takes a lot of planning, to put these things together.
I think overcoming self-doubt. I struggled with self-doubt as an Aries, as a manifesting generator, even a life path number one. Every single, thing that I have in my DNA or, whatever that says that I'm this type of person, the one thing that comes to the underlying core similarity or common denominator is self-doubt. And I've struggled with self-doubt my entire life. So that's something that I'm really, really just getting over and just really stepping into the woman that I always knew that I was meant to be, and utilizing all the past experiences that I've ever had that's formed me into this being that I am right now. Like that's just feels so ready to serve. And I just feel like I've just taken myself out, and it feels like I'm really doing it from a place of humility, and that I'm very proud of. And which is, I guess you could say pride or proud would be more of an ego thing. But I'm just happy with myself that I've come to a place of compassion and humility in this stage of my life.
I love that. I love that. You're a leader, you know, born to lead. Look at you.
I'm a leader, yeah. Yeah, I do feel that because I am an Aries and we are fearless warriors. We are natural born leaders. My life path number is a 1, which is also a natural born leader, and I'm a manifesting generator. So like everything in this life, despite my limiting beliefs, is telling me that I'm meant to do something great. I just had to get out of my own way, like you said. I just had to get out of my own way and realize that I was really meant to do something freaking amazing in this world. And we all are. We just all have to get out of our own way. Everybody has a beautiful purpose. We just have to get over the self-doubt, believe in yourself, just realize that you are here and you matter and you're beautiful and you have something to offer. So just keep doing the work, and I'm talking to the audience here. Keep doing the work, and connect to your purpose.
Dude, I felt like you were talking to me. I was like, whoa, fired up. I got fired up. I got fired up. You
Well,
fired
I'm talking to whoever's listening. Yeah,
up.
whoever's listening. But I feel so inspired all the time, and I just want other people to feel inspired. I just want to ignite that passion, that fire within people that have lost it, because we have it at childhood, and then we grow up, and the weight of the world just weighs on us, and we forget how powerful we are. Like we're these magnificent beings. So I just stay inspired, being inspired and keeping your heart open and yeah.
Yeah,
But when the
hit my
bad comes, it's okay to feel it. Don't feel bad about feeling it, because you die to be reborn. You die and be reborn, and it's just this beautiful cycle of death and rebirth all the time, every single day. I literally, within a day, I die and become reborn sometimes. Sometimes I go into a really dark hole just on a normal Tuesday afternoon, and I'm crying and I'm just feeling the worst of everything. And then 20 minutes later, I come out of this crying session and I'm like, freaking amazing, like I'm ready to conquer the world. So it's okay, like just be okay with death and rebirth.
be okay with it all. I
Be
love this.
okay, yeah.
Thank you for this message, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been really great talking to you.
It's been amazing, you know, and just for anybody, if this is their like, if this was their first time, you know, seeing you, where would you, you know, say that people should go to receive like your services, like things that, you know, you have available for people? Where should they go?
Well, you can come to my Instagram, agelessbeauty143. I have a link in the bio, and I would say if you are a raw foodist, I would say host a meetup on June 29th is it June 29th? I think so. For the Raw Food Worldwide Meetup, because that is something that you're going to want to be a part of. I promise you, we are going to change the world together. And that's where I really want to inspire people to step up as leaders in their community and to bring people together so we can create these little pockets of love and compassion all around the world, and we can just raise the vibration of the world together.
Mhm. You've already changed it, you know, you've already changed it. I love that. Pockets of love.
I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. It's gonna be really good. And we're gonna do this together. We're gonna grow so big. It's gonna be life changing. Like people are gonna notice, like, what are we doing? What's happening? What is this amazing lifestyle? How are these people feeling and looking so good? How do they feel so free? How do they, like people are gonna want a taste of what we have, and we have to give them a platform. We have to give them space. We have to give them a place to go, a safe haven for them to experience all that life has to offer.
Yeah, safe spaces. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. about you? Where can people find you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is jromeshaw, and my YouTube channel is just Jerome Shaw, just my name. The Patreon you were asking about earlier about the membership site for everything Pranic Living that I put up there for anybody who's interested in the lifestyle, interested in growing, their knowledge, and just interested in inspiration, or even to have the motivation to continue, to keep going. That is at patreon.com/Pranic Path. So for people on the Pranic Path, yeah.
I love that. I love that you're doing this. We need more people like you in the world,
Blessings.
spreading truth into the world. So thank you.
Much
Thank
love.
you. Thank you for Thank you for your bravery because it takes a brave person to be able to come out into the world and talk about these things.
Mm. Wow. Well, I received that. I received that.
I wish I could see your face.
I'm smiling.
Honestly, I wish I could see your facial expressions. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I'm smiling.
I'm just going by the tone of your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
I'm
I
sure it's
know. But
wonderfully beautiful.
as are you.
Yeah. Do you eat any fruit or juice or anything like that?
So I do drink juice. I don't
Hmm.
eat fruit at the moment. I haven't eaten solids for quite some time now, but I do have. I like juice. I like coconut water, tea. Those are some things that I enjoy. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, I would love to have you come to one of our meetups one day if you can ever get to LA.
for sure, for
You're
sure.
always welcome.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you for that invitation.
Of course. Of course. We're family, we're all on this journey together. We're all in this together. Like we're human. I mean, we're not all the same person. We're not like when people say like we're all one, we're all you or me or you. Like I mean, we're all individualized, but we're all sharing this experience. And we have to have compassion and really just look at other people like you're going through the same shit that I'm going through, like we have to be here for each other. We have to support each other and help one another and lift each other up.
It's important.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for this call. This has been very, very beautiful. Hopefully, I know I have so many videos to edit already, but eventually maybe I'll get around to cutting this up into some reels. But you're also welcome to chop it up too if you want. 'Cause you said some really great stuff on here.
well, thank you for everything you shared, and yeah, I'd love to do it again sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've loved hearing about your story. It's so great. You're very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I guess I'll talk to you soon. Stay in
Right.
touch, okay? Okay.